Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from StoryPlanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book Boundaries, a creation by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. Boundaries, 1992, serves as a guidebook for individuals who struggle to refuse, those who persistently resist rejection, and all those in the middle. Rooted in both Christian beliefs and modern psychology, this book passionately advocates for the vital role of steadfast and balanced boundaries in one's emotional and spiritual well-being. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Dr. Henry Cloud is an accomplished clinical psychologist and renowned expert in leadership. Dr. John Townsend, on the other hand, is a skilled business consultant, leadership coach, and psychologist. Individually, both have published numerous books on the topics of leadership and psychology. However, their collaboration has led to the creation of the immensely popular Boundaries, a New York Times best-selling book. In addition, they are highly regarded as leaders of the highly esteemed GrowthSkills workshop series. With 8 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book. On StoryPlanet.net. To start, setting boundaries is an important practice for both self-love and healthy relationships. It involves defining and communicating your limits, needs, and preferences to others. By doing so, you assert your worth and ensure your emotional well-being. Additionally, boundaries cultivate respect, strengthen relationships, prevent burnout, and foster personal growth. Setting boundaries is necessary for self-care and kindness to others. A day without boundaries can be draining and lead to being taken advantage of. Setting boundaries is selfless and can be learned and practiced through case studies. It is important to recognize the harm of letting others take advantage and to troubleshoot common boundary violations. Key idea number 1. Setting boundaries is an important and kind action. Setting boundaries is just as important for emotional and spiritual protection as physical boundaries are for our safety. It can be challenging to establish and enforce boundaries, but it is an act of kindness that allows us to take ownership of our needs and feelings. Setting boundaries does not mean neglecting others' problems or concerns, but rather recognizing that we are not solely responsible for them. By setting boundaries, we can care for ourselves and also show love and support to those around us. Key idea number 2. Boundary issues can manifest in various ways. Boundary problems can manifest in various ways, not just as compliance. Avoidance may build strict boundaries, keeping out both the bad and the good. Controllers may enforce their own boundaries while disregarding others. Non-responsives dismiss others' problems and struggle to form close relationships. These are all examples of boundary issues beyond being compliant. Key idea number 3. It's important not to believe common misconceptions about setting healthy boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries is an act of self-love and not selfish. It's important to not buy into common myths about boundaries. Setting boundaries might cause discomfort or hurt, but it's the relationship that's to blame, not the boundaries. Anger that arises when setting boundaries is often a result of hurt feelings from violated boundaries. Repressed anger can come to the surface when setting boundaries, but boundaries provide space to work through that anger. Boundaries are not irrevocable and can be adjusted as relationships progress. Key idea number 4. Developing and maintaining boundaries in life is a challenging process, but the outcomes are worth it. The journey towards setting healthy boundaries can be challenging but rewarding. It starts with recognizing and acknowledging boundary violations. Resentment is an indication that your boundaries have been crossed. Learning to pay attention to your feelings is the first step. When you start setting boundaries, you may face resistance from controllers or manipulators. Their need to use and control you can be addictive, but true respect for boundaries comes from people who don't make a fuss when you say no. As you progress on your journey, you will learn to value and love yourself, which includes loving and respecting God. By treating ourselves poorly, we fail to steward the gifts and talents we have been given. Recognizing and celebrating your own value is essential. Setting small-stakes boundaries and relaxing personal boundaries that don't serve you is the next step. This process will ultimately lead to a deep appreciation for healthy boundaries and the space and respect they create in your life. Key idea number 5. Families play a crucial role in teaching us about boundaries. The text discusses the impact of boundary issues learned from families and how they shape the boundaries we set in our own lives. It emphasizes the importance of identifying and understanding these issues in order to break unhealthy patterns. It suggests becoming aware of unmet needs that underpin boundary problems and responding rather than reacting when boundaries are violated. It also mentions that forgiveness can be freeing, even for family members who repeatedly trample boundaries. Key idea number 6. Having clear boundaries is essential for a satisfying romantic relationship. Boundaries are crucial for healthy and fulfilling romantic relationships. They allow for self-care and better care of others. Even in marriage, boundaries are important. They are a loving gift to both partners. When boundaries are not established or respected, problems arise. Examples of struggling couples include Rosario, who needs to own her feelings instead of inferring her husband's, Andrea and Caroline, who have conflicting desires and need to communicate them, and Raphael and Julie, who need to recognize and respect each other's limitations. The solution for these couples is to establish, maintain, and respect boundaries. Key idea number 7. Setting boundaries in friendships is beneficial. The text discusses the importance of establishing healthy boundaries in friendships. It explains that being compliant and constantly trying to please each other can backfire as it can lead to dissatisfaction and resentment. It also mentions the dynamic between a compliant friend and a controller friend, where the compliant friend may feel taken advantage of. The text emphasizes the need for open communication and providing constructive feedback in order to maintain balance and preserve meaningful friendships. Without boundaries, both compliant and controller friends can negatively impact the friendship. Key idea number 8. Setting personal boundaries is just as important in your professional life as it is in your personal life. The text explores the importance of personal boundaries in professional life. It discusses common pitfalls related to over-responsibility, overworking, dealing with critical co-workers, and the need to separate work and home stress. The key message is that personal boundaries are crucial in both personal and professional life. In conclusion, boundaries are crucial for managing life and relationships. They enable us to address our own problems, support others without taking on their burdens, and ask for help. Creating and maintaining boundaries can bring love and joy to our lives. To strengthen boundary-setting skills, form a support group where members can discuss successes and failures and practice setting boundaries with each other. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.